Dr. Corey Burt here. Hey, I'm excited to be here with you for the next 20 minutes. We've got Chiropractic and Health 101. If you have a spine, then I can guarantee you will find this information interesting. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm an upper cervical NUCCA chiropractor, and I specialize in correcting acute and chronic neck injuries. And whether that's a macro injury such as a car accident or micro injuries such as ongoing sport concussions or even computer desk work, these can all compromise the health of the brain, leading to a whole lot of future health problems. Now, unfortunately, if these injuries, if they're not addressed and corrected as they occur, the risk of developing future chronic spinal problems increases by 60%. And whether that's migraine headaches, chronic neck and back pain, or chronic health problems as a whole, I'm telling you, don't forget about the neck. Don't neglect it. All right, here we go. Chiropractic 101. First things first, I've got a question for you. What is the most important part of your body? Now, is it your heart? Is it your brain, your spinal cord, or is each part just as important as another? Well, I'm here to tell you that the most important part of your body is your brain. And that's not just my opinion, that is a scientific fact. You see, your brain is more protected than any other part of your body. Now, how? Well, because it's completely surrounded by a hard case of bone, of course, your skull. Now, sure, your heart's important, but it only has a few ribs to protect it. Of course, your spinal cord's important, but you see, your spine, it's not a long hollow tube of bone. It's segmented, and it's segmented by 24 individual bones called vertebra. Now, this is why I would agree that your spinal cord is the second most important part of your body because it's heavily protected by the spine. Now, the unique thing about each vertebra is that these bones are movable, right? And they have to be this way so you can bend, twist, and move your body around. But because they are movable, this means that they can get moved out of their proper position. And most commonly, from the injuries throughout our lives, right? We've got the sitting, the bending, the twisting, lifting, falling, the sports, the car crashes, the driving, the bumps, the bruises, the airplane rides, picking up the children, all the things we do from birth, kindergarten, high school, all that stuff can and will cause these vertebrae to misalign and shift out of their normal position, which can stretch and pinch and choke off the nerves that control our every function. So it's really important to talk about what happens to the body when these spinal vertebrae misalign. Now, all of you should understand this example relatively well. Because if I told you that your best friend, if they dislocated the top bone in their neck, the atlas bone, then what would that mean to you? Now, I'm hoping we can agree that this event would be severe, right? Because it takes a serious injury to dislocate the top bone in the neck. Two, we can agree that this event would be rare because we don't see neck dislocations too often. Of course, it would have full body effects, and those effects are usually paralysis from the vertebra cutting the nerve, right? Because when we see a dislocation, the nerves are usually severed in the process, which is going to result in paralysis. And last but not least, the dislocation can be diagnosed by everyone. So we've got a completely dislocated neck bone, which is very severe, very rare, has full body paralysis effects, and can be diagnosed by everyone. Because if you walked up on a scene of an accident and you see a person lying on the ground, you want to help. So you reach out your hand, extend your hand out to them, and they're trying to grab it, but they can't. They can't move their arm at all. You know immediately that they broke their neck because everyone can diagnose that. Medical doctors, physical therapists, dentists, all of you, everyone can diagnose that because the event is so severe. Now, there's another event, another condition that can happen where the neck bones, if they can partially dislocate. Now, although this condition isn't severe at first, the partial dislocation will catch up to you over time and can cause a lot of future health problems. Now, partial dislocation, it's not going to be rare, but it's going to be extremely common because we see them all the time from the injuries throughout our lives. Now, it's not going to completely cut the nerve, but it's going to stretch and pinch the nerves, still affecting the entire body, but not to the extent of paralysis. And so when these nerves, when they're stretched or pinched, this is going to lead to less nerve transmission from the brain to the body, decreased function, so slower recovery. You may fatigue faster, leading to chronic fatigue. Your muscles won't activate at 100%, which could lead to chronic muscle imbalances, leading to chronic pain. The list goes on. But it's no fun to have a pinched nerve, right? They're very painful. You can feel the pinched nerve all the way into your fingers and toes sometimes. But here's the thing. Because the effect is not paralysis, this partial dislocation goes undiagnosed. Well, except for a few. Now, those few are chiropractors. And just so you know, a synonym for partial dislocation is misalignment, and that's exactly what we focus on correcting as chiropractors. And it's sad because most people, they think chiropractic is all about musculoskeletal system, neck and back pain. But what it's really about is organ health, right as you see on the screen. You see the same nerves that control the neck and the back muscles. They're also controlling the heart, lungs, liver, and all the other organs in your body that you can't feel. But unfortunately, the medical system is backwards. They've led us down this model that is very inductive when it comes to organ health, because most of the times these doctors, they're just pointing blame at the organ itself, right? If the lung isn't functioning well, or the liver isn't detoxing as well, or if the kidney isn't filtering, then they point the finger at the organ. It's your fault. And then they prescribe drugs, tricking the brain to increase or decrease stimulation to that organ, right? This is where we see hyperthyroid, hypothyroid, hyperglycemic, hypoglycemic, high blood pressure, low blood. I mean, I can go on. Now, as a chiropractor, I say, take a step back, think philosophically about this. And what if it isn't the heart's fault? What if the heart's what if it's not getting the proper information sent to it? What if the brain is sending the heart a message and it doesn't completely receive it, only partially? What do you think will happen to the heart over time? Ask the question. So instead of blaming the organ itself, look at the full picture. Start with the brain, work your way down, because as you know, brain sends the signals throughout the spinal nerves and trace it to all the different organs. Because I'm telling you, you've got to also ask this question. What if there was a serious neck injury or serious spine injury where these vertebrae, they misaligned, shift out of their position, and compromise, stretched, and pinched the nerves? And I'm telling you, that will make a change from the signal from the brain to that organ, especially the heart. And it all comes down to deductive science. You've got to be able to deduce from whole to a part. The brain to the heart, the brain to the thyroid, brain to the low back, because going from whole to part is the way to go. Backwards is part to whole. And so we don't want to think like that. The overall concept is simple. We've got micro trauma. You're about to see a macro trauma right to the neck. And I'm telling you, whether it's a kick to the neck like that or gravity's crushing us all. And so this is why we have chiropractic, to at least address this problem that we see here. And I'm telling you, let's watch it one more time. Oh, brutal. But this bone right here, We've got the atlas bone, top bone in the neck. This is surrounding the brainstem right there. Look at it. That atlas bone is the most vulnerable bone in your entire body. Now, what that means is that this bone gets injured more often compared to any other bone in your body, and you've got 206 bones in your body. Now, why is the atlas bone so prone to injuring? Well, because of its unique human anatomy, the way God designed it, the way God designed you, because the top bone in your neck is completely different than any other bone in your spine. Why? Because you need to turn your head in all the different ranges of motion. I mean, look at all the range of motion your head and neck has. 50% of all head rotation is going to be coming from that atlas bone. Now, unfortunately, with all that range of motion, you have to sacrifice something, and that something is stability. So when you injure your head and neck, the atlas bone is going to be the first to misalign because of how unstable it is. Now, I know that was a lot. We did a deep dive really explaining that scientific importance of why the upper neck brainstem is the most important part of the body. But now let me explain the subconscious reasoning, that intellectual component of why this area right behind your earlobe is the most important part of your body. Now, you watching this, I'm going to pick on you for a moment, but just imagine this with me for a second. Let your mind wander. Think back to your very first date. I'm assuming you and your partner, you went out to a nice dinner. It was very romantic, just great. And then after, you were driving home, your partner had Marvin Gaye playing on Spotify in the background. The mood was perfect. And when you got home, you walked up to your front door, and at this point, your partner, they were feeling pretty good. All they were looking at is your lips, but easy now. Take it easy. This is the first date. You know that the cheek is a lot safer in this instance. So you see your partner, they close their eyes, they lean in, you close your eyes, and guess what happens? They trip. They trip over their shoe, and instead of kissing you here on the cheek, they slip just 2 inches past and plant one right here just beneath your earlobe. Now, is that the same message? Answer that in your mind. It's only a difference of 2 inches. How can it be a different message? Because your body intuitively knows that the cheek is public and the upper neck is private. And your body will subconsciously protect itself by drawing an emotional reaction when this region of the body is stimulated, whether it's stimulated positively in a romantic sense from your lover or stimulated negatively in a guarded sense from a stranger. Regardless, your body is going to respond hormonally. So with all of that said, this is why I've dedicated myself to being an upper cervical chiropractor, because the region closest to your brainstem deserves a dedicated doctor. And I've worked with a lot of chiropractors over the years, and you know what? The upper cervical ones get better results faster just because of this concept. We focus more time and energy at the start of care so that way we can get you to hold your alignment for longer periods of time with as few adjustments as possible. Now, that's the model, and I invite all of you guys to participate in it, and whether that's now or in the future. Now, keep in mind, chiropractic is just one aspect of health. There are 5 primary aspects, pillars of health, and we'll start with the first one: thought, thinking. The physical body, it is a servant of the mind. And so if you think health, you will increase your chances of being healthy. The more you tell yourself how healthy you are, the more your physical body will take that form. Because when you think fear, disease, that's what you'll get. And this is serious stuff, because fear can kill someone faster than a bullet. And anxiety in our world today, well, living in anxiety opens the body up to the entrance of disease. So even if you think you're unhealthy or you're living in fear, get your subconscious mind to believe that you are healthy. We could spend a lot of time on this topic. The power of thought, it's so valuable. Man, we could just go on, but let's move on to number 2 here, nerve flow. And what we've already discussed, if the brain is sending a message to the heart or another part of the body, wouldn't it be healthy for the message to travel along a healthy nerve? And this is why we have chiropractic. When the bone shifts out of place, it's going to stretch the nerves. So we want to gently and accurately adjust the spine so that the nerve is not stretched anymore. Simple concept. And just know the upper neck is going to take priority more than any other part of the spine. 3, if you're fueling bad, your health journey is going to be tough. Eating the wrong things, drinking the wrong things. If you still believe that fat and sodium are the enemy, you're going to struggle because the enemy is sugar and all those chemicals. If you don't understand the ingredient on the label, then why would you think it's a good idea to put it in your body and let the small intestine absorb that? You don't want that happening. So I'm telling you, if you just stay away from the sugar and chemicals alone, you're 80% there. Eat less, move more, which is going to bring us to 4, movement. It is life. So take a walk around the block, work up a sweat, do a push-up, pull up, lift weights, exert yourself. There are so many benefits to exercise. I can't even begin to describe them all. And 5, last but not least, we've got recovery, rest, recharge, both your body and your mind. Pretty self-explanatory there. But on a final note, on the subject, the 5 pillars of health, as you progress throughout life and as you become more successful and whatever success looks like in your eyes, you should absolutely increase your investment into each and every one of these categories in a proportional fashion. And of course, the investment can be money, but it can also be time. So set time aside to actually think about your health, where you're currently at, where you can improve, and where you want to be at in your 60s and 70s, and have a rough idea of what it'll take to get there. Or maybe your pain, it's holding you back. Maybe it's holding you back from your work, your hobbies, and you do need to hire a chiropractor. Maybe you're not in pain, but you want to preserve your spine and your body, because preserving those spine will preserve your organs, and you're going to function and last a lot longer, because believe me, your future health depends on it. Your future health is worth much more than what you'll pay now. Maybe you need to focus more on what you're fueling your body with, and whether that's signing up for a healthy meal service freshly, or maybe you need to set some extra time aside on the weekend to meal prep healthy meals for the week. 4, movement. Hey, maybe you need to hire that trainer. Sign up for the Pilates class, the gym membership, the run club, kickboxing, anything to improve your overall fitness and movement. There's so many different activities out there. I'm hoping you can find one that you like to do, because if you don't like it, you're probably not going to do it. So find something that you like. Last but not least, sleep. If you know this is something you've been putting on the back burner, you make it a priority to get that extra hour or 2, or purchase some technology to help you better understand your sleep quality. And there's so many products out there. My 2 favorite are going to be the Whoop device and the Aura Ring, and 2 great products out there to just track that sleep quality. Now, that's all I got for this video. Hey, I hope you learned something new from it, something that you hadn't known before. Of course, if you've got any questions, I'm always available to meet with you. I do 15-minute free video consults, and whether you've got questions about this content, your own health, or you just want to schedule an upper cervical chiropractic assessment, hey, we're here for you. And you just head to our website, eliteuc.com, schedule that consult, really easy. Hey, I appreciate your time. Thanks for your staying attentive. And until the next time, take care.